Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The South Africa Minister of Home Affairs has extended the Zimbabwe Exemption Permits until May 2027, two years roughly from now. Many people in Zimbabwe and in South Africa have greeted the announcement with joy. But the truth of the matter is, this is really not a solution at all. Since 2000, Zimbabweans have left the country in droves to escape the accelerated economic meltdown triggered by two things. One, the seizure of the farms by the ZANU-PF regime, mostly white-owned farms, which were then given to ZANU-PF ruling elite. And the new farm owners didn't know what to do with them. And so agricultural production collapsed. A country that used to pride itself in being the breadbasket of the region suddenly found itself in the situation where it could not even feed its own people. The second thing that happened was the printing of money by then the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, Gideon Gono, as if it's out of fashion. Zimbabwe was printing money. Unbelievable. And this was what fueled the hyperinflation, which in 2008, it peaked at 500 billion%, a world record. The Zimbabwe dollar was absolutely valueless, worthless. And it was withdrawn at that point. But in that period, 2000 to 2008, the Zimbabwe economy shrunk by a staggering world record 50%. It has never recovered. And this is what has fueled the exodus of Zimbabweans out of the country. What we are seeing here is a result of the problems we have seen, the man-made problems created by ZANU-PF. There are three basic issues here that must be addressed. The number one is that the economic meltdown was and still is a ZANU-PF made problem. A man-made problem. And per se, we, the people, should be able to resolve it. We haven't. The exodus as economic/political refugees was meant to be a temporary measure while we sort out this problem, this economic problem. the tragedy is this has become a permanent problem, a permanent solution, because it's now 25 years since the start of the economic meltdown, and we still haven't solved our problems, and we still have the exodus of Zimbabweans leaving the country. So while some people would see the extension of these exemption permits as a solution, it is not a solution. It is a breathing space. The question that must be then asked is, are Zimbabweans going to finally do something to address the root cause of Zimbabwe's economic meltdown, which is rigged elections and bad governance? That is the root cause of our problem. If we do not address it, 2 years from now, when those permits cannot be renewed anymore, we'll still be looking at many Zimbabweans trying to come back home to the same economic meltdown. We cannot deny that we've had problems in South Africa, particularly. Zimbabweans have not been welcomed to South Africa. Here is a picture of a Zimbabwean woman who found herself in the unfortunate situation that she was not allowed to go in a hospital because she was Zimbabwean. She ended up giving birth just a few meters away from the hospital with no one assisting her. Here is a picture of her sitting with the young infant on her lap, just minutes after she had just given birth, sitting in her own pool of blood. This is the tragedy of our failure to address the root cause of Zimbabwe's economic meltdown. Our failure to address the problem of rigged elections and bad governance. I would like to emphasize the fact again that people should not be looking at the extension of the exemption permits as a solution. It's meant to be giving us a bit more slack, another 2 years, for us to really do something to end the curse of rigged elections and bad governance. There is no excuse whatsoever for Zimbabwe to be a failed state. It has often been said that nations often get the government they deserve. I think Zimbabweans have got to admit to themselves that we have a government that we deserve. Corrupt, incompetent, and tyrannical. Complete with its MDC CCC sidekick. There's no denying that the last 25 years, ZANU-PF has been able to hang on to power because of the connivance of the MDC CCC party. And of course, we have allowed the circus to go on for the last 45 years. It's shocking that 45 years after our independence, we're still failing to hold free, fair, and credible elections. 45 years in this day and age. Yes, we have the government that we deserve. And if we do not do anything about ending the dictatorship, the South African government will stop extending these permits for Zimbabweans. And we could be looking at hundreds of thousands of Zimbabweans coming back home to Zimbabwe and face the economic meltdown from which they ran away from. And this time, it's even worse. That is the reality. Time will tell. We'll see whether in the last 2 years, the people of Zimbabwe will wake up to the economic realities, political realities in the country and do something about it. Or will it be business as usual? They've done nothing the last 25 years. Why should the next 2 years be any different? Well, there is a price to be paid if we do nothing. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.